Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. Meditation gathers energy when we meditate together. This week, we have Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz, who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we'll open it up for sharing, and we end at about 10:45. Over to you, Kenny.
Thank you for inviting me over again. I have chosen something short and sweet and straight to the point and straight to the heart of the matter, I think. For me at the moment anyway, it's the escape from darkness. The escape from darkness involves two stages. First, the recognition that darkness cannot hide. This step usually entails fear. Second, the recognition that there is nothing you want to hide, even if you could. This step brings escape from fear. When you have become willing to hide nothing, you will not only be willing to enter into communion, but will also understand peace and joy. Holiness can never be really hidden in darkness, but you can deceive yourself about it. This deception makes you fearful because you realize in your heart it is a deception, and you exert enormous efforts to establish its reality. The miracle sets reality where it belongs. Reality belongs only to spirit, and the miracle acknowledges only truth. It thus dispels illusions about yourself and puts you in communion with yourself and God. The miracle joins in the atonement by placing the mind in the service of the Holy Spirit. This establishes the proper function of the mind and corrects its errors, which are merely lacks of love. The mind can be possessed by illusions, but spirit is eternally free. If a mind perceives without love, it perceives an empty shell and is unaware of the spirit within. But the atonement restores spirit to its proper place. The mind that serves spirit is invulnerable. Darkness is a lack of light, as sin is lack of love. It has no unique properties of its own. It is an example of the scarcity belief from which only error can proceed. Truth is always abundant. Those who perceive and acknowledge that they have everything have no needs of any kind. The purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you, or rather, to restore it to your awareness. You were given everything when you were created, just as everyone was. The emptiness engendered by fear must be replaced by forgiveness. That is what the Bible means by there is no death. And why I could demonstrate that death does not exist. I came to fulfill the law by reinterpreting it. The law itself, if properly understood, offers only protection. Yet it is those who have not yet changed their minds who brought the hellfire concept into it. I assure you that I will witness for anyone who lets me, and to whatever he permits it. Your witnessing demonstrates your belief and thus strengthens it. Those who witness for me are expressing through their miracles that they have abandoned the belief in deprivation in favour of the abundance they have learned belongs to them.
Open your eyes slowly and come back into the room. We have 20 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand or use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off of mute. And if you'd like to ask Kenny a question or a comment with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out.
Thank you for that. How nice to be being with you. Angela.
Hello everybody. Hello Kenny. And I couldn't hear you very well. You've got such a lovely, soft, soothing voice. So soothing. It was quiet. So I don't know whether you need, even now when you spoke just then, I don't know if you need to increase your volume.
Can you hear me now?
Not so loudly, really. No.
Now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yes, that's clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
so sorry about that.
It's all right. I could hear a lot of it. Obviously, it was the Escape from Darkness, which is always a lovely piece. I know the principles. I can't remember the whole principle where it ends up saying, look, purification is needed first. And it may say something like, I'm entitled to miracles, or miracles occur naturally, but purification is needed first. And of course, that's the handing over, isn't it, of all our dark thoughts. And during that meditation that you led us into, which was a lovely introduction, I thought about that principle. And if anybody's seen the angel cards, those little tiny angel cards, it shows an angel having a shower. So I did picture that, but and I pictured myself surrounded by the darkness of my mind, of my grievances and everything. I didn't picture them, just the darkness. And I stood under this angel shower, but it wasn't water that came out, it was strands of light. And the Holy Spirit was next to me in the shower. And this light was pouring down, and the darkness just gradually fell away from me, down by my feet, and it moved over to Holy Spirit and was instantly transformed into light as Holy Spirit light received it. So it was wonderful experience of purification. And then I was all light and shining everywhere, and I felt released from that darkness that you described in that reading. So that was a lovely experience. So thank you so much, Kenny. I feel much lighter now. So thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
As you were going through that, did you notice whether you were breathing or not, breathing it in and being with it?
I didn't notice breathing, no.
The reason I ask is I notice with myself, when it's goodness, I can think how wonderful, rather than also feeling the wonder and bringing it in and engaging with it and almost embodying it. And I know that when I'm feeling it and being with it, as you were, then we're one. But whether it's good or bad, sometimes I notice when I'm not breathing, it's in my head and I'm disconnected from it. Maybe yearning or chasing or thinking or figuring it out. And as I was reading, I noticed there are times when I wasn't totally breathing and present with every word and feeling. And when I wasn't, then I stumbled because I wasn't here. or I thought, oh my God, is there a big word coming up? And that's fear rather than being with the love and trusting the journey and just being with it. And I remember a very, 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 very long time ago, Ian Patrick and I and a few others from the miracle community did a fire walk. And that was all about being here and now. And I remember the first time I did it, when my mind went a foot or so in front of me, I could feel it on my feet. So obviously I had to do it a second time to really get in the present with it.
I can imagine my breathing would come very fast when I was doing it.
Exactly. And you'd probably feel it too.
Oh gosh, definitely you'd need a shower then. Oh gosh, yes.
Thank you.
So that is a good tip actually about embodying it and breathing whilst the visualization is going on. I shall concentrate on doing that next time and see how differently that feels. Thank you very much, Kenny.
Thank you.
Who would like to share?
I like the way you mentioned about being with the darkness, and I've noticed how for so much of my life I've demonized and therefore fed or run away from and therefore demanded that the darkness chase me, rather than being with it, using it as a catalyst or a reminder or a gift that I need to adjust, come back to here and now, and whenever I shift, take a breath and come back to here and now. But my God, I ran and thought and thought and fed it without realizing. And I still do.
Sandy, would you like to share?
Yes, that's what I feel as well with the darkness. That's what I used to do, but with this meditation today, really, really a good reminder, just to remind us that it's just the lack of light, and that as soon as I remembered that you know I am the light, then all of that just dissipated straight away, and I could just sit in that. And any time my mind wandered and got a bit lost in that darkness again, it's just that reminder, it's just the lack of light, and remembering to come back to who I was, and straight away then that peace, and it just got very, very deep and very, very beautiful. So I didn't want to talk at first because I was really enjoying just being in that lovely space with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. James.
Did you mention my name, Kenny?
I did.
You're still very quiet.
Oh,
you
sorry.
Anyway. I did. I had some difficulty hearing you as well, but I think I picked up most of it. And I think the main thing that it reminds me of is that if we are hiding from the darkness, we're actually hiding from the light. And the important thing is to see beyond the darkness, not to hide from the darkness. And because that just is counterproductive, of course. When I'm in a dispute with somebody at the moment in business, and when it first arose, my first reaction was, well, he's just being totally unreasonable. And it was very much a thought of, you know, it's all on his side, the problem, not mine. But as we sort of exchanged emails in this dispute, I've been asking more and more to see the darkness in me that's helped create this dispute. And it is working. It is. I mean, it's helpful. Well, it's working on my side anyway. Because I'm becoming freer of the problem. it's much more surrendered. Initially, I thought I've got to do something here. That this man is in dispute with me. I feel I'm right. I feel he's wrong, and I've got to do something. But by being open to be shown the darkness in me that has led to my part in this, I can be freer of the problem. It then becomes something for the light to solve rather than the darkness to solve. And I had an email this morning, in fact, just before this, I think half an hour or so before this meditation. And so we're still ongoing at the moment. But what came up for me was simply to see the darkness that I am bringing to this situation, and then to see beyond it, because it's only what's beyond it that can resolve the issue.
Mm. Mm. Do you know what struck me about what you said so loud and clear is the I need to do something. And one of my greatest lessons and confusions, and I think it was a meditation I led before, was the I need do nothing. And what I love about this piece is, to me, it states that my doing needs to be an extension of my being, rather than my doing needs to fix or change something to enable being. But I can breathe in and choose and come from my being, like that, as it's stated. And then my doing is just alive, where in the past, the instinct, especially in business, and sadly, a lot of people think that that's business. It's a different zone. There are different rules. Where for me, it's this is life. And business is surely built on good relationships. So how can I be with this person on the same side? How can I be with this situation? And in being together, what needs to happen? And I may or may not like what needs to happen. I generally learn something about myself and about my past and about my programming. And then it doesn't become about winning or losing anymore. It becomes something much, much, much bigger for me. And it's generally a healing place. It's almost like an alchemy to unlearn past wounds and to really be here and now, and to almost like let it go in the dark shadow so it can open up in the light. The being and the doing thing. Thank you so much for sharing that, James.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you.
It's the us rather than the them and us. It's the us and us.
It's the one.
Yes, exactly.
Who'd like to share?
The 1st of April's the 28th anniversary of me holding my first group, which was in Sydney, and I had absolutely no idea who would be there, what we'd do. I had no idea, and there was a room full of people, every age, shape and size, and everyone was standing up, and I rang my bell, and we had 2 minutes silence, and everyone looked at me, and without knowing where this was going, it's almost like out of my mouth came the word one, and then I looked to the left, and everyone, apart from one or two who said two, it just went around the room, and we just passed one, and it came back to me. And throughout the whole thing, I just thought, where is this going? I had no idea. And then when it came back to me again, my mouth opened and I said, it's corny. We are all one. I didn't even see that coming myself. Angela.
Just a quickie. Terry always reminds us that God can only count to one.
I love it. And I must admit, I was brought up Catholic. There are lots of times in my life when I felt, how can I have when others don't have? If we are one, then surely I shouldn't move on unless the others move on with me. Surely, especially with the war that's going on and the tragedies of the last 2 years or so, how can I have? And also being triggered as an ex-refugee from Uganda, being triggered, it's like, I know what that's like. Should I give everything somehow? Would that be true and of service? But what a path to have, to be, to share, and to really, for me, learn about my truth and boundaries, and not necessarily saving or fixing or stealing other people's experiences. And that could so be used as a justification or an excuse of not sharing and caring. But it's been quite a tightrope recently.
Teresa, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Kenny. And thank you, everybody. It's always so lovely to, just to be together. And I wasn't sure that I really wanted to share, but I do, I think. I woke up this morning and I remembered, and sometimes I do in the morning, it's almost like the Holy Spirit will pop a little reminder in about something. It's to do with doing. And I thought something was finished, some piece of work was finished. And then this little thing popped in. It's not finished. You've got this little thing to do. So instead of just accepting and being grateful, my ego managed to clip in, how could you forget? And then I found I was in all kinds of anxiety this morning. All sorts of things were going on. So I did my very busy meditation before this meditation, and my writing, and and I could hear, I'm so far away from awakening because I've got all this anxiety, and then Holy Spirit said, this is just the anxiety and the fear will just latch itself on to any story at all. Whether I want to, and I was latching it onto all different kinds of stories. And it was just like, you are awake already, and this will pass. I mean, I do get these anxiety times and they always do pass. They don't stay here forever. So that was nice. So I suppose that's looking, that was my darkness this morning. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Computer anxiety can run me, as we were saying before. What haven't I done? And it's all so fast. And to remember that all things will pass. When I'm in it, it's not always that easy to remember. And it always has. When I'm in it, it can feel like like being in meditation with you lot today, forever place. And I guess it's up to me to choose which forever place I wish to come from. Not always easy, but we have the evidence. Linda.
Thank you, Kenny. I'm still in this lovely light and peace. I just feel very connected with everybody. And thank you, James, for bringing up about seeing my own darkness in somebody else, and what an opportunity that is for it to be healed, and light to show, because that's what we already are. We just need to let it show. So yes, it was beautiful. I'm still in that lovely peace and light and love. So thank you, Kenny. Thank you.
I can so feel it listening to your voice. It just feels heart opening.
Yeah.
And I love the emotion that can come up when I feel my heart opening.
I've got, my daughter gave me a little light. It's an electric candle with a battery underneath, and it flickers, and I can carry it. It just is lovely. I've got this here. That's what I am. I am that light. So yes, thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny, for being with us today and walking us through the darkness to the light. That was beautiful. And
absolute pleasure.
Everyone, take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Kenny today.
Thank you,
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you,
Have a great
Teresa.
time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Everybody.
Bye.
Lots of love.